Om Sadashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Majamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Param Param. Namaste. Bhagavad Gita. Shanti Shanti Shanti. Last class we have seen the 21st verse. The supreme goal is my abode, it's my nature, it's recognize my very nature as the only reality, which is your very nature, the nature of all jivas. And this nature is imperishable. The manifest being said to be imperishable, says Krishna. Our scriptures declare that being, this principle, this conscious existence to be the supreme goal of all jivas. It says that is the supreme abode of mind, and it's the ultimate goal because it's the only reality in this apparent order. And again, saying that whosoever reaches or attains this clear and firm understanding, knowledge, do not return to the cycle of new birth. So Swami was emphasizing the imperishable as another pointer, another feature or nature of Brahman. And understanding Brahman, understanding God is absolutely fundamental if our goal is to grow spiritually, to refine and purify spiritually, mentally, psychologically, and so on. So our goal, the purpose is to recognize that there is a creator, there is God, and begin putting up an effort to understand God's nature. And the God's nature at the very bottom, the very end, is said to be nirguna, imperishable, free from attributes, free from the gunas of Maya, nirguna Atma, nirguna Brahman. So when we go into these pathless paths of understanding the true nature of reality, we sooner or later we come down to this inquiry into the true nature of God as Nirguna Atma. So that's the way it goes. From the dancer, first we are totally stuck in matter and energies. We are so attracted, like children, to this world of phenomenal objects that we don't even recognize that there is a supreme intelligence projecting and sustaining it. We are blind to that. Slowly, with refinement, mental refinement, we start understanding that there is a supreme intelligence holding it all together and destroying it according to certain laws in due time. Every configuration made up by the gunas of Maya. So when we come to this search, seeking of the true nature of reality, we must remember that it begins with searching the nature of Saguna Ishvara, trying to understand the principles and laws of this Saguna God and live in harmony, in conformity, aligned with these laws. So that is the beginning of the search, which ends up with the search for the supreme abode of Ishvara, which is Nirguna Brahman, Nirguna God. And only then we're going to attain a certain knowledge, understanding that will end the desire for continuation, to put in other words. What is no return is the end of the desire for more, more duality. No? Very rare you find people who comes to that, genuinely free from the desire for continuation. Next life, please, better life, more punya, and so on. Right, Mark?
Yes, absolutely. Even in the form of just another day, please. Yeah.
Indeed.
It's very difficult, very difficult to let go of.
The micro as above, as below. So the same applies from the macro from the macro to the micro. Every day, we have unfinished desires, unfinished fears, and that we want to work on in the next day. Unfinished business. Krishna talks about God, of course, that is the subject matter of the Vedanta and the Gita. There are two goals. You can go by searching for Ishvara, the understanding of the nature of Ishvara, aligning your life with its laws and principles. That is going to produce what? Finite goals, okay? These finite goals, as a seeker of Ishvara knowledge, Saguna Ishvara knowledge, it's very interesting because when you do actions outside of the context of Vedanta, which actions to produce religious results, those religious results, they are not only limited, but they are perishable in the sense that they worn out, they expire. So it's like you build punya and then you exhaust, you spend that punya. But when we become a seeker of Ishvara, Saguna Ishvara, we begin gaining something else which is not subject to loss, to expiration. You gain mental purification, spiritual growth, refinement. So that is the promise of the Gita. You don't lose that. So although you are getting limit and finite results, but it's on your account. You cannot lose that. And whereas the results from actions, you enjoy the punya, but you exhaust it. So they are not a limit, but they are really bound by time. You exhaust them. So these we are getting limit result. What is a limit result? What is the best limit result? Is mental, emotional, and spiritual purification, refinement, development. This is the best limit. So it does not free you, but has got you to a platform from where you can inquire into the nature of Nirguna, Brahman, with great chance to succeed and free yourself from the problem of samsara. So the final destination is the infinite consciousness, infinite Brahman, as we know. And the finite is to really understand and develop a loving, devotional relationship with Saguna Ishvara. Once we accomplish this Brahman, we understand that we have completed our journey, and which is something other than reaching Brahmaloka, as we know. And then Swami ends up this conversation saying that be very careful with language, because when we say that you must reach Brahman, it does not have any involvement with space, time, and traveling. You reach Brahman by understanding that Brahman is your very intrinsic nature. You have never been away or apart from it. It was never away from us. It's just our fundamental, intrinsic, real nature. So how are we going to do that? And then we come to that final piece of instruction, you get to that by claiming that limitless consciousness is your true nature. You are that infinite, limitless conscious existence, Satchitananda Brahman. So the final instruction is claim it. But together with that goes another piece of instruction is if by claiming, you do not succeed to get convinced that your true nature is Satchitananda Brahman, it means there are some obstacles that need to be worked on. So, and then you just stay with Karma Yoga as well. Go back to Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. Fundamentally, the purest aspect of Nididhyasana is claiming. But if that does not really purifies and transforms our human experience, our human behavior, and then the recommendation is don't throw it away, believing it does not work. Just understand that there are some qualifications lacking that are preventing the full assimilation of this reality. These are important fundamentals of the Upanishads, of Vedanta, we have to keep in mind. And that alone means that consciousness is the supreme reality. Abode means our nature. When Krishna says, that is my real abode, or abode, I don't know, it's my true nature, the only reality, therefore your very nature. If you say abode in a literal sense, again, you get into some problem of what? Time and space. Can you just hold for a second? Therefore, here, abode means nature, svarupam. Krishna, Rama, etc., nature, abode. Krishna, Rama, these are Saguna, representatives of Saguna Ishvara. They are all my inferior nature. Why? Because they exist below the line, the quote unquote line of Maya. The line of Maya is a certain prakrit that somehow allows the superimposition of namarupas upon consciousness. So as if there is a line, split separating satya from mithya. So below that line, we're gonna find the inferior nature of God, the inferior nature of Jiva, and the inferior nature of Jagata. Okay, the apparent nature of Ishvara, Jiva, Jagat. But above that line, quote unquote, we have the true nature of consciousness as Satchitananda Brahman, which is beyond time, therefore it does not perish, with everything else does so. The verse takes us to the verse 22nd. O Arjuna, indeed, the Supreme Lord can be attained by undivided devotion. All beings are in it, in him. All this is pervaded by the Lord. So again, we have this clear indication that the path of devotion, although it's not a path, but all paths, they need to be pervaded by an attitude of devotion on the side of the seeker. So the Supreme Lord can be attained by undivided devotion, full, total reverence, love, appreciation, devotion, gratitude for the opportunity, and so on. No complaints. All beings are in it. How so? Because the Lord, the Creator here, is what? Is pure Sattva Guna, okay? The Supreme Intelligence. which is the efficient, intelligent cause of the universe. Of course, that is the most subtle below, quote unquote, the line of meteor, and therefore it's all pervasive. Oh no, I thought the space was all pervasive, all pervading below the line of meteor, of Maya. Yeah? No, space is something that is a byproduct of Ishvara's projection. Ishvara is the intelligence that projects space, the four elements, and numberless, infinite numberless configurations of the gunas all over the cosmos. Okay, so of course, this Lord Sattva is all pervasive in this apparent order of reality. Huh? Any questions? Therefore, it says, all beings are in me, are in this Lord, the Supreme Lord. He's talking about the Lord on the third person. He does not say, oh, Arjuna, the Supreme Lord can be attained by devotion. All beings are in me. Usually he does say in me. Here he says, all beings are in the Supreme Lord, which is in everything is pervaded. This Lord which pervades everyone and everything. So a few points here. No? One of them is the undivided devotion appearing again. And everything is contained in this supreme intelligence because everything is a byproduct of this supreme intelligence, which includes the five elements and all the chemical and physical elements that comes from the gunas. So the nature of Brahman, which is beyond time and space, is present again here. It's a consciousness existence principle that's called Purusha. So here and there they call Para Purusha. Purusha is the Prakriti of Maya, and Para Purusha is consciousness, the original, let's say, principle, the supreme Purusha, supreme Brahman, the highest reality, the absolute truth. I have given two meanings of the word Purusha, and you have to recollect it in this context. This absolute Brahman, in which Brahman alone rests. So this is another pointer. There is this absolute Brahman, which is Para Purusha, in which all the gunas of Maya rests upon, because it's a superimposition. But here it says, this Brahman in which only Brahman rests. You understand? The only real thing, is Satchitananda Brahman. Only Brahman rests. All beings, the idea of Brahman does not exist within the creation, in which Brahman alone rests all the beings. Okay, maybe he was meaning to say in which Brahman accommodates all the beings. I don't know if that is the sense of this phrase. But
sorry. I was reading Vivekachudamani the other day, and it was put in the context of, or the sense, and I can't remember exactly, but all the manifestation finds its being in me.
Yeah.
As you say, putting that emphasis on the existence.
Absolutely. Yeah. Everything rests in Brahman. And of course, Brahman alone is the only reality in which Brahman alone rests. All the beings, appear within Brahman. The idea is Brahman does not exist within the creation. The creation is just an appearance superimposition upon Brahman. The whole creation rests in Brahman. So all the gunas, all the elements, and so on. If you go to Apara Prakriti. So another word to point to this Nirguna Atma, Nirguna Brahman. Can you just hold for a moment? I'm going to just pause here. Okay. That is why all our prayers the beauty is they will give both the lower form as well, the higher form. You can choose according to your level. It means to say that all our sadhanas can be direct to Saguna Brahman or Nirguna Brahman. Saguna Ishwara or Nirguna Ishwara, or Ishwara and Brahman, if we take Ishwara to be the guy, the boss with gunas, and Brahman, the boss without gunas. So all our sadhanas, they can be direct to either one of these entities. God in its higher form and God in its lower form, appearing form. If you do not like certain deities, you can choose different ones. And if you don't care for deities now represented by a God represented by deities in human form, you can go for the elements, and there are many options. All of this is Saguna. And here, Saguna and Nirguna aspects of God are told. Here, in Him alone, all the beings rest. And by this consciousness, the whole creation is pervaded. Because if you talk about the existence of anything, consciousness must be present there. So very clear, consciousness pervades the entire creation. So Sattva Guna, the supreme intelligence, is an appearance superimposition upon consciousness. Consciousness is the most subtle and the absolute all-pervasive principle. If you talk about the existence of anything in this Mithya order, consciousness must be present there. How? You can guess how, because to talk about the existence of anything requires conscious existence. How can you talk about something without being conscious of that thing? So conscious existence can never be discarded, can never be denied, can never be rejected, because it's self-revealing, self-luminous, self-obvious. Therefore, existence presupposes knowledge. Therefore, existence presupposes knowledge. Well, see if it makes sense. Therefore, existence presupposes, he presents it. Existence presupposes knowledge. I was going to say, it's more clear to say knowledge presupposes existence. Knowledge presupposes the existence of something. Knowledge of existence itself don't do exist. Knowledge presupposes consciousness as well. But he always said that existence presupposes knowledge. Consciousness presupposes knowledge. Knowledge presupposes consciousness. That's the point. Meaning to say consciousness and knowledge are the same thing. Whatever we talk about, consciousness must be present. Therefore, by that consciousness, the whole creation is pervaded. Consciousness is the substratum, and as I often repeat, nothing escapes consciousness. Nothing escapes consciousness, because consciousness is the substratum. Krishna himself feels that many people that find that this nirguna, superior nature of Brahman, which is very high, it's beyond my head. It's too abstract to me. It's very, very subtle indeed. In the text Bhagavatam, Darshanam, it's said very nicely. Krishna plays and he does Rasa Creed. He kills asuras and just goes. And that is better. But this is too high for me. If any person feels Krishna do not get this heart and everybody can come to the level of appreciate, but that is require a sincere desire to that. Okay, it's a bit confusing, this this translation or transcription. Sometimes Swami breaks, to say something, and then he says the opposite. You have to understand what he's trying to emphasize here. So in this Bhagavatam, it tries to highlight the fact that God can be too subtle for most people. So in that text, Krishna plays and he kills asuras. And he kills and then he goes, he moves on. And that is better. But even that is too high for me to understand. If any person feels Krishna, do not get disheartened, everybody can come to the level of appreciate about what is required. So it's confusing, the transcription. And my take on what he's trying to be said here, that even the description of Krishna going there and killing asuras, and then moving away, is something more acceptable than the notion that Krishna is the absolute Akarta principle that does not do anything. But the Krishna deity appears as destroying the asuras. These people can say it's better for me, but this teaching is too high for me. This teaching about Nirguna, Brahman, the superior nature, doing nothing, etc., is too much for me. It's too high for me. So if that is your feeling, take it easy. Don't get disheartened. You can come to a lower nature of Ishwara, and where you're going to be able to appreciate it. But that requires a lot of faith and desire. But what is required is sincere desire to do that. This last passage is a bit confusing as well. You need extreme earnestness and sincere desire to come to the point of appreciating the superior nature of God. Krishna says you can go to Nirguna Brahman by your niskama devotion once you understand that Brahman alone is the ultimate goal, because anything else falls within time and space except Brahman. Everything is bound by time and mortality. I'm no more interested in mortality things. And then Swami says something, the tyranny of time. Sometimes in the past, especially, I used to use these words of tyranny to refer to the tyranny of one's vasanas. So it feels to be so powerful. And here we have time as the ultimate tyrant. Yana Murtu Yarababa. Once you have understood the tyranny of time, and once you have sincerely voted for the timeless Brahman, what is the purpose? I have got my Krishna, like Papaji used to say, but he stays for a while and then there he goes. And I have to do a lot more sadhana to manifest him again. So it's time bound. That Krishna is time bound. Anything that appears and disappears is under the tyranny of time. Once you have understood the tyranny of time, you're gonna feel inclined to make an effort to understand the nature of timeless Brahman. And you do that by first being a Niskama Bhakta, a Niskama Karma Yogi. Okay, so what is a Niskama? Niskama is someone with a mind that is purified enough that he loves God for the sake of loving God without asking anything in return. And he is incredible Karma Yogi because he does what he does, always keep in mind the benefit of the all beings, with the collective. Okay, so he is niskama in all sense, in the sense of his actions, in the sense of his devotional attitude, yeah, and the acceptance of whatsoever comes as prasada. So what comes is prasada. So you continue your saguna bhakti. And then he makes a step back to saguna. He says, you may continue your saguna sadhanas. Be a saguna bhakti, be self-centered, observe dharma, get into the relationship with the Lord, try to gain and get and accomplish what you want, but never violating dharma. But stay at the level of saguna, because sooner or later your mind will grow, expand, and purify, and the qualifications are going to be in place for you to move into niskama karma yoga, niskama bhakti, and then later on you'll become a jnana yogi, and you're going to go into a different kind of devotion, which is devotion for the nirguna Brahman. Therefore, he says, niskama bhakta, through this niskama bhakta, you're going to reach nirguna Brahman. So as we know, you can never reach Brahman by bhakti. You can never reach Brahman by niskama, not nirguna, niskama bhakti, okay? So by niskama bhakti, you're going to reach purification. But here, in many other passages, he says you're going to reach it by doing that. You're going to reach it indirectly, because without that attitude of pure devotion, niskama bhakti, you are never going to purify enough to qualify for moksha. Yeah? So here he says that by niskama bhakti, yeah, that Brahman is going to be attainable in due time. Therefore, be a niskama bhakta. So with this, Krishna completes his comparative study of God as its higher nature and his lower nature. And an intelligent person would vote for the higher nature of God, but that's not really the case. There are a lot of intelligence that votes only against God, regardless of saguna nature, nirguna nature. There are many, very, very IQ people, intelligent people that have no interest in God. They may have interest in materialism and science. So here Swami means to say a mature person will vote for God and not for the world. So meaning to say, I'm going for the real God, the infinite God, and I'm becoming a niskama upasaka. You see now, niskama upasaka, niskama karma yogi, niskama bhakta, okay? So I become a niskama upasaka, and not for karma. This is the idea. I want to what? I want to get the development of those purities and qualifications which allow me to move into jnana yoga, into the Upanishads. That takes us to the next file of the transcription. We know that there are innumerable paths or goals or pursuits in human nature. So there are so many different pursuits, but Vedanta goes there and comprises it into the search, the pursuit for security, which is the most fundamental. We need to have financial security and physical security, and the ability to live a dignified lifestyle, not a slavery lifestyle. And those all falls into security, stability, the base first. And then we have the pursuit of entertainment and pleasures and find things in life. We want to have a good time, but we're still attracted by those things, so be it. Enjoy it. But from the very beginning, establish this relationship with God, the Creator. From the very beginning, I want only security, but I have God, I brought God into my life, and I ask God to remove the obstacles that preventing me from feel secure enough to move on. So we have securities, we have entertainment and pleasure, and then we have Dharma, which is altogether different kind of goal. Dharma, when it is interpreted as punya, celestial punya, is absolutely finite. But Dharma, when it's interpreted as spiritual purification or refinement, is a finite goal, but it does not expire. It's like in having money. Now they are talking about the digital financial system in which money may be controlled and programmed to say you can buy only this and that this month, and not only can be given expiration dates to your money. So to have a money digital, in a system that expirates, it's not something very good. So likewise, if you have spiritual growth, spirit purification, spirit development, and then Ishvara say, okay, but you have only one more lifetime to complete your journey. And then I say, but that's not the promise of the scripture. The scriptures told me that I will never lose my spiritual growth. No? So whatever, we look into Artha Karma for sure is something that you enjoy, and then you have to work again harder and harder to produce more pleasures and more sense of security, relative security. So when we move into Dharma, I just present two aspects of Dharma, punya, celestial pleasures, or material, not material, doing physical actions in the pursuit of Artha Karma. You do in a certain way, offering your actions and accept the result with this heart filled with devotion and appreciation. In that way, you are getting the refinement and the purification. And that is a finite goal, but it does not expire, as I try to illustrate. But here Swami again presents punya as Dharma. Dharma means punya, and the amount of punya you acquire, it's born out of finite actions. Therefore, the punya is finite in both sense. Enjoying a favorable circumstance, it will give you a sense of satisfaction, but it is defect by nature. But on the other hand, it's finite because it wants out. You just lose your savings, you lose your punya, you expand your punya. So Artha, any amount of wealth you acquire will come onto finite, and then it's a result of finite actions. And then karma as well, entertainment, pleasures, and then he goes into the different lokas in which supposedly you can get the greatest possible pleasures in those higher lokas. You can even go to Brahmaloka and so on. They might have very long durations, the scriptures say. In astronomy, it's said that the sun one day will explode and die. So just imagine what's going to happen to our planet in our solar system the moment our sun cools down. Going to be chaos. Naturally, he says, so don't worry, take it easy, because when you go into astronomy, the time there is usually very long, millions of years and so on. So it's almost as if it will never happen. All goals can be divided into finite and infinite. We have seen it again and again unfolded in this chapter 8. Finite goals can be called materialist goals or anatma goals. And infinite goals can be called spiritual goals or atma, otherwise called Bhagwan in this chapter. Therefore, Krishna's conclusion is God alone is Sasvatan. What is Sasvatan, Lynn? Swami may disclose the meaning of Sasvatan as we move on here. So, therefore, Krishna's conclusion is God alone is Sasvatam. Other than God, everything else is a Sasvatam. So,
I have it. Shasvatam is eternal.
Eternal, yeah. I was imagining something on those lines. Thank you, Lynn. Therefore, an intelligent person, again, a mature person should not try to hold on to these non-eternal goals. A mature person must seek the eternal goal alone, which is an imperishable Brahman and limitless, infinite goal. Therefore, you may choose God as your goal. This is what Krishna's advice or teaching is. That you may choose God as your goal. This is what, and to drive home this point, he just discussed this, elaborate, blah, 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 blah. And to drive home this point, okay, to emphasize this point, he's going to further elaborate. He did further elaborate between verse 15 to 22nd. We're going to enter the 22nd one. I think he's close to wrap up this subject. You may choose which God is you are fit for, and never forget that God and God alone is the path, the way, and the destination. Don't try to move into spirituality rejecting God. Say hi, Mark, please. Say a word, Mark, please.
Sorry, I had the microphone off. I said hello, but the microphone was off.
No, because Lynn closed her camera, and then when you guys none of you have a camera, and then I have a dark screen in front of me.
Yeah, not much fun.
When we say God is the destination, initially we present Saguna God, of course. Can be a person or can be a different kind of symbol. But Krishna is hammering, trying to inspire, encourage people to move from this person like God or Saguna God in general, to move into the Nirguna God. If God is a person located in space, so it means that this God is finite and bound by time and space, of course. Therefore, ultimately, God must be understood as free and independent from time and space. Which is the formless, timeless, actionless, eternal principle. Therefore, Krishna defined God as formless consciousness, existence, the only reality, which is beyond the manifest and the unmanifest physical world. It's unmanifest, you find still Ishvara as in its causal knowledge formation. pure knowledge, the seed of the universe. But beyond Ishvara, we find limitless Brahman, beyond the unmanifest even. This manifest matter and unmanifest, this manifest causal universal cosmos, composed by causal matter, super subtle matter, otherwise called causal energy. I was adding causal energy. So God is neither physical matter, subtle matter, nor causal matter. God is not energy, period. There is so much confusion. People believing that God is an energy principle. That is Maya. That is Ishvara. Many people think God is a form of energy. Do not fall for that. If God is a form of energy, it will be subject to change at all times. He's referring to the Nirguna God, the real God, because all forms of energy is transformed into matter, and from matter transformed into energy. God itself, Ishvara itself, appears as the intelligence, and it is very, very subtle matter, and then it explodes to become the physical world, Virat, or this Vyavaharika that we see. And then it goes back during Pralaya to the unmanifest formation. Everything that is causal, subtle, or physical matter is going to be subject to transform, to go through these transformations of frequencies of energy that manifest differently, even to the most invisible level, which is the causal level. We have the example here that energy, we make use of energy. The funny thing is that even recently, I went there to do some research about something I heard decades ago, that nobody knows what electricity is. And still nowadays, nobody knows exactly what electricity is. Such is the limitation of the human intellect. People have learned how to use it. So if we take electricity, we know that that source of electrical energy can be transformed into mechanical, magnetic, and light energy, heat energy, cooling energy. That energy is interconvertible, transformable. If God is an energy, it will be transforming. So the thing about our beautiful Ishvara is that it, quote unquote, transforms to become the world, preserving its true, its final nature as the supreme intelligence. It appears in the concept of a creation that requires a transformation. So the milk is transformed into cheese, it loses its milkhood. But Ishvara transforms or appears as the physical material in the subtle universe without losing its intelligent, efficient nature as the supreme knowledge, the supreme intelligence. So that is the distinction. So Ishvara, although it is transforms to become the word, it does not transforms in the sense that it does not lose its original, configuration as the efficient, intelligent cause of the physical universe. You got that? Therefore, God is neither matter nor energy, but God is aware of the changing matter and the change energy, and the witness God is not subject to change at all. Okay, now he says, therefore God is neither matter nor energy, but God is aware of the changing matter and the changing energy, and the witness God is not subject to change at all. So he's talking about Nirguna God. This changeless Nirguna consciousness principle, which is beyond matter energy, is the true God, is the infinite God. And this Nirguna God should be the destination of all seekers of the true nature of reality. So this is the content of what we have been covering from the verse 15th to the 22nd. Now we're going to go in the 23rd. We still have some time. 23rd verse. We were making a concluding the topic and then recapping the last verse. And now he goes into the 23rd, in which he says, Arjuna shall speak about those paths by which the yogs attain the world of no return, in the world of return. So now he's present two paths, okay? He say, I shall speak about those paths through which the yogis can attain the world. I mean, the word there is, they can attain the goal of no return, let's say, or the goal of having to return. So there are paths and paths and paths. Some paths are going to put an end to the journey, and some paths are going to allow you to enjoy punya, enjoy spiritual elevation, but still you return, okay? One path is going to end the merry-go-round between births, lives, and deaths, and reincarnation. And some paths will bring you back here so that you can carry on your journey, okay? He talked about two types of destinations in this verse 23rd. Now, in the previous verse, he was talking about two kinds of destination, the finite and the infinite destination. Now he's going to address the spiritual sadhanas that allows you to go into the finite goal and the infinite supreme goal, okay? Krishna talks about two types of paths, margas, which lead to two types of destination or goals. Destinations means there must be a path. If you say, there is a goal, there is a destination, then how I should go about to reach that goal, that destination. So once we talk about a goal, a destination, it implies a path. If there are 5 destinations, there must be 5 routes, like we see the routes in the USA, and here he refers to the routes in India as well. Krishna wants to talk about that. And once you talk about two types of paths, we need to leading to two types of destination. What are the two paths? What are the two margas Krishna wants to talk about? The two paths leading to two types of destination. So I think we know. One destination is spiritual purification, development, or even celestial punya, and so on. And the other sadhanas, the other path is the path leading us directly, not indirectly, directly to self-knowledge and moksha, the understanding of one's true nature as the true nature of God. So he's going to present us hypothetical two topics of travelers. There are two types of travel, two topics of travelers who will take to two types of paths, reaching two types of destinations. So two travelers, two routes, and two destinations. Two destinations have been talking about. Now we need to know what are these paths, what are these sadhanas, and that is going to take us from this verse 23 to verse 27. Of these, we are first going to deal with the two paths. Krishna introduced them in this verse, saying that there are two paths. One is going to allow you no return, and other paths is going to still imply you having to return to continue your journey. So prayataha means traveling by two routes. Here, the word kala refers to pass, or here we have kala being present not as time, not as time, not as time, but as two routes. He says, okay, it may be confusing, but I'm warning you. The word kala here refers to pass. Yatra kala means traveling through two different routes. So pass means the seekers, the travelers, the pilgrims, the travelers. They are doing things to doing sadhanas to reach, to accomplish some goals. And what are they? What are these destinations, the goals? One is finite and one is infinite. We have seen that, but we want to address here which are these paths, which are these sadhanas. One is going to take you to no return because you have reached the limitless infinite goal, and you reach that by understanding you are that limitless infinite Brahman. Therefore, you do not return because we return here just for fulfill our desires or positive desires and negative desires. Positive desires to gain or attain and maintain. Negative is to push away and to keep it away. So we come here for display, okay? Acquiring, maintaining, and pushing things away. So when we talk about two kinds of destination, he says one is going to take you to the understanding of your limitless, infinite nature, and this understanding will it will dissipate or destroy your desires to come back to run to gain, attain, maintain, and avoid. Okay, so that's life. Life is coming here with our vasana load, our desires on the subconscious level, and then we start going, attracted by things that we don't even know why I'm attracted to this kind of thing in this life. But if we go through this knowledge, the promise of our scriptures is that it's going to somehow finish with your vasana load, with your sanchita, in a way that you are not going to ask for Ishwara for another return ticket. You get there and say, Ishwara, I got it. You know, I have realized my nature as the water of the ocean. I lost my identification with the wave, and I lost my identification with the desires of that small wave. I have claimed my nature as the water of the ocean, and don't try to push me back into that limiting self-insult identification with a Namarupa. Okay, I am the substratum of the entire cosmos of Namarupa. So in that way, Ishvara does not give me a return ticket, and that is indicated by certain words here: nitya moksha, permanent moksha, a moksha that's not subject to forgetfulness. We can understand it as krama mukti as well. Krama mukti, nishta ishvara, anitya, initya. Okay. Okay. Anitya. Anitya would be krama mukti because you may go there, you search for a finite goal only to be directly to the infinite Brahman in a Brahma Loka. But our goal here is Jiva Mukti, and get this release from samsara with no need to come back, no return ticket. So, Krish, if we go, so what is the situation if we go there hoping for Krama Mukti, hoping we're going to reach Brahmaji, and Brahmaji is going to give us, his blessings, or its blessings, and a lot of celestial experience and so on. We are uncertain if Brahmaji is going to give us a ticket back or not. It will depend on our capacity to assimilate the knowledge given directly from Brahmaji. But there is another way. The another way is to leave the body already having established, Ishwara established that you don't want to go to any locker. You are done with superior lockers or subtler lockers or celestial lock. It's all written in the soul. The code of the soul is no return ticket. And Ishwara is the greatest reader, is the intelligent that can read all the codes and say, okay, this soul does not go to any locker. It must dispel, melt, merge into free, limitless, infinite consciousness, having no return to this or any other locker. No? Those are the two routes, the two margas. I shall teach you, Arjuna. And these two paths will be called Sukla Marga, the brighter path that leads to God. It's brighter, it's very luminous. And the other one is called Krishna Marga. It's a darker path, a gloomy path. This is, now I'm remembering vaguely of this passage. I'm happy to revisit this part of this 8th chapter, because I will probably have better understanding, better insights on this one. But we're going to do it next week. Hopefully, we're going to do it from next Tuesday. Monday, I will be arriving in Brazil very early, and I will be driving home during the time of our class, or hanging out in the airport. So anyhow, if everything goes well, if Ishwara allows me to go back to Brazil, we meet next Tuesday. If Ishwara decides that I have to stay a little longer here, we meet this coming Monday, because I will be here in this very room in an apartment in Orlando. Okay? Okie dokie. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om. Okay.
Thank you, Orlando.
Thank you. Thank you, Lynn. Thanks, Mark, Sylvia.
Yeah, thank you, Arlindo. Great satsang.
We meet
And good
soon.
luck with the travels.
Thank you. Thank you for everything. Thank you for your appreciation as well. Bye-bye.